You like that? Try to get fancy. Hello. Um, June 18th, 2025. It is a Wednesday. Um, Everything looks good on there. I think we're good to go. Where to start? Had some crazy storms come through last night again. They were pretty gnarly. Ended up not having power at work, so no work today. Well, the regular job, anyways. Did end up getting some side work done. Got a bunch of work done on that boat motor. I wonder where my phone is. Oh, it's right here. Yeah, I got a bunch done on that, which is nice. I just need to get a different set of lifters for it. The lifters my buddy got are not the right ones. They're flat tappets. We need rollers for it. And of course, I tossed the old ones because I thought we had new ones. So, got to go pick up some more. No big deal. We'll get them tomorrow. Throw the top end together. Hopefully, I can have it done tomorrow. I don't know. Not a bad day overall. A few weird moments, but all good. One of my really good buddies came by today. Actually, before he came by, he called me. I hadn't talked to him in a while. Been I don't know. Been kind of laying low lately. But he called me. I answered. We got to talking about everything. Then I kind of talked to him about, I don't know, some of the stuff I talked about on here. You know, work and home life and my vision. And feeling like I'm not living in alignment, so to speak. He's super good dude, though. I mean, he's super, super supportive. He's like, man, whatever you needed to do, you just do it. It's like, just do what you got to do. It's a good friend, you know, someone that's got your back no matter what, even if you decide to move like 4 or 5 hours away. Yeah, I don't know, something to think about. I'm sure I'll have to dwell on that for a while before anything serious comes about. You know, it's a big change, and I still have ducks I got to get in a row here before I decide to make a plunge like that. If I was going to sell the house, I got to make sure the house is ready to go. And I got a bunch of other stuff that I should probably sell before I truck it around with me wherever I'm going. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Something to keep in mind. And I think about my ex constantly. Kind of crazy, but you know, I still can't get over the thought that like we never had like a shared vision. We never talked about that. We had vague visions. We never had like plans. And looking back, like you're trying to build a life with somebody, how can you build anything when you don't know even know where you're going, what you're doing, what you're working towards? Why are you guys on the same team? Kind of crazy to think about that. I don't know. Maybe that's partially me because, I was so not in that mindset, so to speak. And I don't know, just taking that plunge. Maybe I was a little gun shy about that. It wasn't the only problems that we had, but I feel like with such a major piece of the puzzle missing, it was bound to like cause problems elsewhere. And due to the fact that neither one of us were aware of that piece missing, I don't think helped things. That light's really bright, isn't it? Let me see if I can turn this down. That's brighter. Maybe that's better. We'll roll with it. Yeah, I got a bunch done on the boat. Nice to get that done and get it closer to being out of my garage. Garage is a wreck right now. Drives me bananas. I mean, I like things to be everything has a home in my world. And I like to be able to put something down and know where it's at, I guess. Maybe I'm a little OCD. But yeah, the garage needs to be gone through something serious. So once I get that done, I can dig into that. I try to get the boat out for a little while this weekend. Might cut back on the old brewskis this weekend too. Like the further along I get in this game of life, the more things I realize just don't serve me or my purpose or make me a better person. Never felt like I really had a problem with alcohol by any means, but I've been more like cut loose. And I don't know. I just don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze, so to speak. And I know eventually, like, especially with kids and stuff like that, I just don't want to be that guy. It's not part of my grand vision. If I turn this, it'll be a little better. I think that's better. So yeah, we'll see. Kind of ran short on time tonight. It's already kind of late. Didn't get my run in till pretty late either. But I don't think I left the house till 8:40 or something like that. The sun goes down at like 9, so I had to be on the hustle. But did pretty good. Actually set a new PB again today. 11:15. And then I followed it up with a 12:43. Not bad. Definitely the quickest one. I wonder if I should change this to run instead of walk. Effort reminder. Maybe I'll turn that on and see. I don't know. Like I said, I tried to keep my BPM in like a good range. That's mostly my biggest deal. But yeah, new PB today. Go me. What else been going on? I don't know. My Facebook and Messenger and stuff has been blowing the heck up. I'm so far behind on all my messages. I looked at one point, I had like 11 group chats that were going off. It was ridiculous. It's too easy to get overwhelmed in this stuff. It's very distracting too, especially when you got stuff going on. Got my journal in today. This journal is created with the intent to help you become more self-aware, more self-confident, and more successful in life. Pretty cool. 365 questions to deepen self-awareness. So I guess if I did one a day, that'd be a whole year, huh? I don't know. Maybe I'll read this part and I'll look at the first question and I'll decide if I want to make this part of this. Then go forward on this journey of self-discovery. Seek the truth, for it's your only friend. Delusion always asks for a price. You best use this journal during your morning routine or your evening routine. Try to make it a habit, either daily or at least every once in a while. To your success, your love, to your happiness. May this journal give you everything you've hoped for and more. I think like right now, oh, there's like a couple per page. Man. My phone drives me bananas sometimes. Day one. You know, they actually maybe I don't know, maybe this would be cool. They don't give you a whole lot of room to write, but let me just show you. This is the book. It's backwards, but you get the idea. But they only give you like one question, day 2 question, day 3, day 4. So I don't give you a whole lot of room to write, but you know, maybe this would be something cool that could go through on here and talk about. And you know, maybe if there's not quite enough stuff on here, but then I also worry if like there's some crazy deep questions, I might leave it out because they might be a lot to handle, if you know what I mean. when they have little snippets at the top. The only defense against the world is a thorough knowledge of it. Yeah, makes sense. Two turning points in your life. Day one. You know, hang tight and watch me write. And then I'll give you some cliff notes. Let's see my bald head. That's sunburnt, huh? Let me move this. Just bear with me. Hopefully it doesn't make too much noise. Need something better to write on. Un momento. Sorry about that. It's my buddy that came over today. He was asking me about some stuff on my O'Reilly's account. If I could look up, he bought head bolts for his truck, and he couldn't remember if they make two different ones, like either all the same length or a set that's long and short. He couldn't remember, but I can't look it up on my account, unfortunately. So that kind of sucks. But all right, yeah. Let me get back into this. Hang on, I need to find out a date. $2021. Should have been 4 years ago. Okay. Okay. Describe 2 turning points in your life. I just got the first one done. We've already kind of talked about this, so I'm definitely okay with sharing. The first one by far was losing my dad. That was by far one of the biggest turning points in my life ever. 36 when I lost my dad. And I think the hardest part about the whole thing was like, it was supposed to be like a no big deal surgery. Like, we had no worries about it whatsoever. Like, it was going to be an in and out, like literally he wasn't even supposed to stay the night. And that day, it's crazy. I can literally like replay that day in my head moment by moment. And that sucked. That changed my whole outlook on life forever. And I think it's taken me a really long time to process that. The other day we were talking about how I felt like I was in the same exact spot as like after I lost my dad. And I think a lot of that has to deal with the fact that maybe I definitely, not maybe, definitely didn't deal with all of that. I think time helps. The passing of time helps. And you know, I've talked a lot in therapy and stuff about my dad, and you know how important he was to me, and like how big of a person he was in my life. And yeah, I mean, he was like my biggest cheerleader. He was incredible. He was always so supportive. Like my dad was my dad was a stud. He was like this crazy all-star in high school, you know, like quarterback and track and field and played basketball, and you know, he was just like a star. And you know, when I got to sports age in, you know, middle school, high school, whatever, you know, my dad, he encouraged me to like do those things. And I did. You know, I did basketball for a little while. I did like some rec league stuff. Um I got into taekwondo for a long time. I was like almost a black belt in taekwondo. I kind of took to that pretty well. Um I never did football. I wasn't really into that. Um Basketball was okay. I did do some track and field stuff. My dad was like a crazy awesome pole vaulter and had some crazy records for, I don't know. They were withstanding for a long time. I'm pretty sure like if you still go to the high school today, there's still stuff of his in the trophy case, which is kind of crazy to think about. He was a fucking baller. But then like I never really took off on that stuff. I wasn't really like a huge sports buff. I didn't really watch sports on TV, and it just wasn't really my gig. But then I got into racing bicycles, BMX, and man, that instantly was like my entire life for many, 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 many years. And you know, God bless my dad. He would drive us all over the place for these BMX races. I mean, every weekend we were at the track racing. We were going to practices on Wednesday nights. I mean, we were traveling to Oklahoma City and Kansas and, you know, all over the place racing these dang bicycles. And he never batted an eye. He was always so gung ho about it. And, you know, just having that kind of support, you know, even for something that, you know, I think he got passionate about it, but it wasn't like his thing. You know, he liked to watch football and stuff. He really got into MMA and stuff too later on, but he did karate and stuff too when he was younger. So I'm not surprised at that. But yeah, I mean, it was literally, it didn't matter what it was. If it caught my interest, my dad was all about it. You know, cars in high school, he was always gung ho about that. He always loved me having my car buddies over, and we're cutting the cats off of them and all sorts of crazy stuff. And you know, it was cool. I think it was mostly like he just really wanted to see me like happy and passionate about whatever I was doing. And it's pretty hard to replace that. You know, I think maybe that's kind of been a struggle of mine. It's like I'm still passionate about stuff, but I don't know. Maybe that's another question I'll have later on in this book. But yeah, losing my dad, that was a tough one. Let me let me do the second one real quick. Okay, part two. And it's 10:45. We've touched on this a little bit too. So I'm okay talking about it. You know, the second thing that's probably been one of the biggest turning points for me personally in my life, like, would probably be like to break up with my ex. You know, I guess, you know, when all the dust settled after that, I don't know, it's been 4.5 months probably. I haven't talked to her at all. And you know, there's crazy phases, you know, of grief, loss, whatever you go through. But you know, like once the dust settled, I don't think I realized how much garbage I was carrying around still, like from my past, or things that, you know, I didn't think were a problem, but they were definitely a problem, and things maybe I avoid dealing with. And yeah, it's kind of weird. I think maybe it was almost like a distraction of sorts, and just really forced me to like deal with my shit. Put it frankly, you know, I think it really brought to the surface my own self doubt, and that's probably been buried for a really, really, really long time. If I'm gonna be honest, I'm not. I don't really. Let me think about this before I say it. You know, when I say my self doubt, I mean like doubting myself and my own self worth and my own values and my own capabilities, even. And I guess, you know, I guess maybe the self doubt's always been kind of like just lingering, you know, like a in the background kind of thing, but it really brought it to the forefront, like just facing your demons in a sense. What else did I write down? You know, I met her like not very well. Take that back. We met before my dad died, but we didn't, nothing. I literally like fixed her motorcycle for her, and then I didn't ever hear from her until after my dad died. It was quite a bit after, though, maybe like 5 or 6 months, I'd say. And I was really wanted it to work. I was like excited about that. I was really excited to meet her, and like I had very, very high hopes. And I think I was craving a lot of connection for sure, because I was not in a very good place when that relationship took off. But to be honest, it probably saved my life. It definitely like got me out of a bad funk, like pulled me out of the ditch kind of thing. And you know, I wish maybe I would have been in a better place when we met. So maybe things would have been different, but I wasn't. And, there ain't much you can do about it now. To be honest, we were probably both in a pretty weird place. Seeing as how she kind of went through the same thing not long before I did. So I think maybe we were both struggling. Things that we hadn't dealt with. And, they showed up from time to time throughout the relationship. But, I mean, we were both there for each other. Trying to be as supportive as we could. But I don't know if that was necessarily the best foundation to build like a really long lasting relationship on. You know, it sucks. We were both trying to heal each other almost in a way. Yeah. I don't know. After that relationship came down, I even throughout the relationship, it really showed me a part of multiple parts of myself that I never even would have thought of looking at, or it taught me a whole lot about myself. And then of course afterwards even more. Gifts that keeps on giving, I guess. I'm still sad about what happened. I don't know how to. You can't take it back. You make things right. You just start from a good place from here. I don't know. I don't know if that's a thing. Of course, we both have to be on that page if that was going to even be a thing. And yeah, I don't know. But either way, I guess no matter what happens going forward, Let me see what else I wrote. Yeah, I mean, that relationship was life changing, good and bad. And, you know, either way, I'm very grateful for that. And I love her dearly. And feel like I've become a lot more well-rounded person, better person overall. You know, it's changed me a lot, a whole lot. I'm definitely not anywhere near the same person I was 3.5, 4 years ago. Kind of crazy to think about. But yeah, I don't know. That's day one, I guess. In the book, anyways. This isn't day one. I wonder if I should do one a day or if I should do two a day. What time is it? I think maybe for tonight we'll just do one because it's almost 11. I gotta get to bed. But yeah, maybe maybe when we got a little bit more time we can do more than one. That'd be cool. Some of them might not be quite as deep, or maybe I won't have quite as much to say about them. Like maybe there'll be something I don't want to share, God forbid, but trying to be honest with myself on here. Oh, yeah. Crazy to think about how much a person can change if they want to. Keyword. Okay, I think we're gonna wrap it up. 11 o'clock. I gotta get to bed. Gotta get to work. It's Derek signing off. Love you guys.